because I've had enough of us not celebrating our national identity. I think it's about time that actually we celebrate St George's Day, the day of our patron saint, the day that represents, our flag and nationhood. These symbols, these trinkets of Englishness, I think are basically pushed to one side. We're racist, white, horrible bigots in England. Let's not celebrate their national day. Scotland, St Andrew's Day, is a public holiday. Why can't we do the same thing here? I'm sick and tired of being told that what we have is actually something that Englishmen throughout history have built up, and I think we ought to be proud of that and celebrate it a hell of a lot more than we do.
I thought you were about to start singing Jeremy Corbin for a second.
Well, I agree with Jeremy Corbin.
Because I think on this, I was about to say, I think it's probably one of the only Jeremy Corbyn policies that I thought, well, I'm lockstep behind you.
What was the policy?
To have a bank holiday for St George's Day, like there are bank holidays in other parts of the country, Scotland for St Andrew's Day, etc. So I agree with you, Darren. But the question is, why isn't Keir Starmer's Labour, your man, who you support, pushing these patriotic policies that Keir Starmer seems to say he supports, but doesn't actually support in real life?
Well, it's so interesting to hear a Tory saying that people should have so much more time off. And,
can I correct you?
Why not just hand them out?
He's a Lib Dem.
Oh,
he's a Liberal Democrat.
The blue Liberal.
There we go.
Look, I don't agree with you. Actually, I'm going to a St George's Day celebration.
Good Lord. With Emily Thornberry?
Next week or the week after. No, in the Speaker's house. And I thought when I got the invite, I thought, God, I've never been to a St George's celebration or event before, not sort of, in the village where I grew up or not in a professional capacity.
Well,
it's just not something that we really celebrate.
Would you feel comfortable flying the Cross of St George?
I would fly the Union Jack because that feels much more comfortable.
George's
because,
Day.
well, on any day, because it feels like the Union Jack embraces diversity and the variety of these islands.
You were so close there, close, Benjamin.
He's doing such a good job. Let's let him speak a little bit more.
Couldn't help but put the foot in.
Look, let me just say this, though. One of the reasons why... we don't celebrate St George's Day. It's pretend to think that we do. Look, there are too many bank holidays at this point in the year.
No, I'm saying we should.
I think that we should have a bank holiday to mark Queen Elizabeth's passing, which was at the other end of the year, and when we need a bank holiday. I think that is the patriotic thing to do.
Every monarch.
Well, no, I would call her Elizabeth the Great. She should have a day recognising her contribution over 70 years.
But I tell you what Elizabeth the Great would have said. She would have said that actually that national identity, that unity that brings is incredibly important.
No,
and actually,
she would have said, Philip, turn that Darren Grimes off.
Denigrate and destroy, I think, what we have done, what achievements we have. I'm very proud to be English, and I want to be able to say so.
I feel more of a Brit than English, and I actually agree with Benjamin that I would prefer to fly the Union Jack.
What, because you like the diversity that it represents?
No, not because of that nonsense, but because I see myself as a Brit, and that includes Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales. My only problem is the Scots and the Welsh hate us.
You say my only problem is the Scots and the Welsh.
No offence to any Scots and Welsh.
It's kind of like Arsenal and Tottenham. Arsenal, I don't really have a problem with Tottenham because they're so insignificant, but yet Spurs hate Arsenal. It's the same with the Scots and the Welsh, and I think the Northern Irish are okay, but they seem to have a problem with the English, whereas
Are we relieved?
I don't. I have no problem with the Scots or the Welsh, but there seems to be like a visceral anger towards the English. But that said, I prefer to fly the Union Jack.
Yeah, no, I think of myself as being English first, British second. But you're right that there is this kind of disparaging. Roger Scruton called it the culture of repudiation. This sense that being English is somehow dirty, whereas Scottish nationalism or Irish nationalism or Welsh nationalism isn't thought of as something that you should feel shameful about, that you should feel pride towards. And I agree with you, Darren. I think that we should have St George's Day as a national holiday. And I think that actually it's really only a small symptom that we need to get over that self-hatred, and we need to be able to be proud in saying that patriotism is a virtue.
All right.